Hello, my name is Jonathan, and I'm going to teach you how to use A-star pathfinding in a simple manner, real quick. This will cover how to set up the A-star pathfinding game object and how to use the grid graph in a general way, not, in depth, because I'm not qualified enough to do that. So let's get started. First thing we're going to want to do is add a game object. Let's be an empty game object, and we'll drag this to 0. So we'll do. Not sure if there's really a reason, but All right, now it's over there. Let's rename this A-star pathfinding. Okay. Now that we have the A-star pathfinding here, we will. Let's drag it all the way to the top so it's very convenient for us to find later. Now, what we do next in order to give it the pathfinding properties is we go to components. You can also do this in add component as well, but for simplicity we'll do it here. Pathfinding and Pathfinder. Simple as that. Ignore the new version thing. This is not the most up-to-date, but it should follow still. Now we go to graphs, and we create a new graph. We're only doing grid graphs because that's the scope of this tutorial. And, well, of course we got another one, but that's not what we're trying to do. Just do one at a time. Alright, oh yeah, now I remember why I did 0 on there. So we can place the coordinates of this little square thing in the center of this, because this is where we're going to place it. This is exclusive to my project, so it may not be related to your stuff, but it should apply still. So let's get started and move this to the center. Let's first find out what's the center of this area. It's -11. Alright. So let's go back to this. Center, put to -11. It may not look like it changed, but if you see, this square has changed its position. My frame rate seems to be slow, but that's usually because if you have show graph on right here. Now it should be much quicker. Okay. Alright, next thing we do is we try to resize this so it fits the whole square here. We're going to go for, actually, we'll match it based on the scale on this, so it's 20 and 20, so we'll put this to 20 and 20 over here. 20 and 20. There seems to be something wrong here. Oh yeah, when you do that, it sometimes recalculates it, so you may need to change this back when you actually may want to do this part first. So just put this back to 0. Okay, now it's covering the whole entire thing. It could be bigger, just that I like to be neater. Alright, next up is, we don't have to deal with this right now. This is for specific things. It's not covering the scope of the tutorial either. So we're going to deal with collision testing, height testing. Now collision testing, the diameter, which is the like how big is the object that like the AI going to be in width, kind of that kind of understanding. How big it will be. So it's used. That information is used so it can determine like if it's trying to go through narrow gaps, if it can even meet there. So if this was to a really low value, it would probably go through a lot of things. But if it was higher, let's say it was 10, it would go through this area. It wouldn't be able to go through this area because this is about approximately one size. So we'll just leave it at 1 for now. I do plan on it being able to access this part. If it can't, then I'll lower it. I'll be able to determine that in a bit, so I'll show you. Height and length, this is just the height. In just case of like ceilings in front, you don't want the enemy to go through something without having to duck or something like that. So, but that's kind of why it's there. We'll keep this at 2 because it doesn't really matter horizontal. I mean, the vertical doesn't matter vertical. Sorry, get those confused. So then, next thing we do is we move to the mask. Mask is important to note because okay, this is the collision testing. So we put everything that has that we don't want the enemy or the AI to collide into to get to a certain designation, like it's an obstacle, for instance. So these are not tags. These are layers. As you can see, has a layer here. This has a layer here, which is default. A lot of these have layers. This is a layer, which is flipper actually. So let's go note this down. We only want to check the things that will be the obstacles. There's actually one called obstacles, but if you have more to it, you can add more, which I do. So it could default for me, and it would include flipper, because I don't want the enemy to go go through this. And also the majority of these objects is default. I'll have to change a few objects because like there's certain triggers involved here, but that's besides the point. Now that's done, we're going to height testing. Height testing, we can ignore this part here. Height testing will set this to nothing because we don't want to test for all the height over there. With this, we test usually like the ground or like the floor. What's the floor in your area, and what layer is that in? You probably don't want it to be in the same layer as default because default's already over there. I mean, unless you didn't use default there. But anyway, ground, and for my thing, the floor is also a board. So those two match that, and I believe that's it. Yeah, that's it. So that should work for that. Now, if there's any mistakes, I'll just fix them. But let's try scanning it. Scan it right now. Alright. Okay. I did forget one thing I just remembered. The position of this should be slightly lower than it is, because it's like right in here. So we should, and based on the value here, it should be, I believe 0.6. No, okay. Hold on. It's negative 0.6. See, it's slightly below it, so that's all we need. Because what it's doing is it's shooting raycast these 100. No, it's shooting raycast a length of 100 from this point up. So that's how it does that. Now let's scan it again. Okay, it didn't really, that wasn't really the problem in the first place, but it's good to do this anyway. As you can see, it's being blocked over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to lower this value. So it's the 0.5, and scan it again. Okay, let's lower it again, 0.25, and scan it. Okay. Anyway, something's wrong. Give me a moment. Oh yeah, I just realized there's a trigger over here that I'm using. That's why it's not showing there. There's some invisible triggers you can't see right now, and this one in particular is, let's see if I can find it, track, door, entrance trigger, yeah. This is marked as default, so it's considered blocking. Even if it isn't a trigger, it will consider it blocking, so that doesn't really matter if you set it as trigger or not. So let's change this to, camera trigger layer. That's a layer that's not being marked. So, now if I try scanning again, it should ignore that. See? Let's change this back to 0.5 because I don't want it to be too small. Okay, it can still fit. Alright. So, basically we'll be able to go through a lot of things, except for the areas that have been designated. As you can see here, this is being blocked as well. Now, since this is done, we'll move on to the next step, which is placing an AI in there. We are not going to make our own AI at the moment. We are actually going to borrow an AI asset that came with the Unity, not Unity, the A-Star Pathfinding project that I downloaded this from. So we will go to Assets, A-Star Pathfinding, Example Scenes, and Prefabs. So we got our, let's just go for the mind, oh wait, hold on a sec. Went too far back. Sample Scenes, Prefabs, and I believe this is it. Yeah, this is the bot. You just drag here. It doesn't matter where, for your project it will matter, so. These variables will go into go into depth maybe later, but at the moment, this is just for how to set up the A-Star Pathfinding. Oh yeah, let's drag this back up here, so it's, easier to understand. No, that's not what I wanted to do at all. So undo that. There you go. Straight back up here. Now, we don't have to set up anything over here. I mean, one thing to know is to make sure that the layer that this thing is in an obstacle layer. Otherwise, it will be kind of blocking itself. Alright. Now that's done. As you can see here, there's a script that says target. This basically is where the AI will move to. I'll assign this in a moment. First, I'll press play, because I want to assign it to an object that's moving. And that will be this pinball here. Click that. And, oh, actually not click that, sorry. Go back. Drag this into the transform, and it'll start following. As you can see, it's following. Sorry, that's a slow-mo ability. Just ignore that. That's nothing to do with the start pathfinding. So, there you have it. It's how to set up pretty simple. Thank you for watching this tutorial, and if you want to see more, please let me know.